Good day and welcome to Alena Media TV. We are broadcasting from Toronto, Canada. I am Elsa Abraham. Now, in today's episode, we are going to talk about COVID-19 updates. Let's go for our headlines. Coronavirus cases now hit 37.8 million, with death toll rising to 1 million and recovered cases of 28 million. In our next story, 500,000 more girls are at risk of child marriage in 2020 because of COVID-19. And in our last story, coronavirus cases survives on phones and banknotes for weeks. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, is our news in details. Welcome back from that short break. Coronavirus cases now hit 37,838,898, with death toll rising to 1,082,620, with recovered cases of 28,411,273. Now, in our next story for today, the pandemic has put 500,000 more girls at risk of being forced into child marriage this year, reversing 25 years ago of progress that saw child marriage rates decline, according to a new report by the charity Save the Children. Before the global outbreak, 12 million girls married each year. Now the charity warns that up to 2.5 million more girls could be at risk of child marriage over the next 5 years. How saying 39% can help millions of girls to stay away from child marriages. How saying I do can help millions of girls to say I don't. With up to 117 million children estimated to fall into poverty in 2020, many will face pressure to work and help provide for their families. The pandemic means more families are being pushed into poverty, forcing many girls to work to support their families, to go without food, to become the main caregivers for sick family members, and to drop out of school, with far less of a chance than boys of over-returning. Inga Ashing, CEO of Save the Children International, said to CNN in a press statement. The pandemic led to school closures, and experience during the Ebola outbreak suggests many girls would never return to class due to increasing pressure to work. The risk of child marriage, bans on pregnant girls attending school, and lost contact with education, the charity wrote. A girl gets married at every 2 seconds somewhere in the world. A girl gets married every 2 seconds somewhere in the world, and this is very alarming. This year, 191,200 girls in South Africa, South Asia, would be disproportionately affected by the risk of increased child marriage, the report says. It is followed by West and Central Africa, where 90,000 girls are at risk of child marriage, Latin America and the Caribbean, 73,400, and Europe and Central Asia are 37,200. Girls affected by humanitarian crises such as wars, floods, and earthquakes face the greatest risk of child marriage, the report says. Before the pandemic, data showed that child marriage was increasing among refugee populations in Lebanon. Child marriage among Syrian refugee girls rose by 7% between 2017 and 2018. Every year, around 12 million girls are married, 2 million before their 15th birthday. Ashing said, 500,000 more girls are now at risk of this gender-based violence. This year alone, these only are the ones we knew about. We believe this is a tip of the iceberg. If there are such cases in your country, please report to the authorities, he wrote. Now, moving on to our second story, our last story for today. Coronavirus survives on phones and banknotes for weeks. The strain of coronavirus responsible for COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, has been shown to survive for up to 28 days on surfaces such as mobile phone screens and banknotes. A study from CSIRO, Australia National Science Agency, has found. The researchers found that it survived longer at lower temperatures and on non-porous or smooth surfaces such as glass, stainless steel, and vinyl. Compared to porous complex surfaces such as cotton, it was also found to survive longer on paper notes than plastic notes. Establishing how long the virus really remains viable on surfaces enables us to more accurately predict and mitigate its spread and do a better job of protecting our people, said Dr. Larry Marshall, Chief Officer of CSIRO. The research involved drying the virus in an artificial mucus on different surfaces at concentrations similar to those reported in samples from affected patients and then re-isolating the virus over a month. Further experiments were carried out at 30 degrees and 40 degrees Celsius, with survival times decreasing as the temperature increased. The study was also carried out in the dark to remove the effect of UV light, which can rapidly inactivate the virus, something of which train stations and airports have taken note. The new findings may also help to explain the apparent persistence and spread of the coronavirus in cool environments with high lipid or protein contamination, such as meat processing facilities. While the precise role of surface transmission, the degree of surface contact, and the amount of virus required for infection is yet to be determined. Establishing how long this virus remains viable on surfaces is critical for developing risk mitigation strategies in high contact areas, said Dr. Debbie Eagles, Deputy Director of the Australian Centre for Disease Preparedness. Our results show that SARS-CoV-2 can remain infectious on surfaces for long periods of time, reinforcing the need for good practices such as regular hand washing and cleaning of surfaces. At 20 degrees Celsius, which is about room temperature, we found that the virus was extremely robust. Surviving for 28 days was on smooth surfaces such as glass, found on mobile phone screens and plastic banknotes. For extent, similar experiments for influenza have found that it survived on surfaces for 17 days, which highlights just how resilient SARS-CoV-19 is. Now, we need to look at the preventive measures that we need to take to protect ourselves from COVID-19. Make sure you wash your hand regularly with soap under running water, or you can also use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you feel a little bit under the weather, make sure you call in to the emergency centers in your vicinity or your community. You can also cough in your elbow if you don't have a handkerchief, or you need to do that immediately. Please subscribe to this channel. Let us know your thoughts on this particular episode. Don't forget to press the notification button so you'll be notified anytime we make a post. My name is Elsa Abraham. Thanks for watching.